It's a nice Wednesday. It's cloudy outside, and I was just drinking a nice cup of coffee, and I wanted to share with you guys a couple of things. And let me know if you agree, disagree. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But essentially, I noticed, or I saw, that Bobby Lee and Khalyla were on Your Mom's House podcast with Tom Segura. So naturally, I listened to it, and I confirmed one of the things that I've said on my other videos previously. I had a lot of comments. A lot of people say how important Khalyla and how talented she was to the success of Tiger Belly, and that it wasn't just Bobby alone. Now, of course, I give her some credit. Of course, I don't discredit anybody that has any type of success, especially in the entertainment industry. So props to her. But if you think that she is talented at all and that she actually carried Tiger Belly because of her podcasting skills or communication skills or whatever, take a listen to the new podcast that they just dropped. Take a listen to Tom Segura's podcast with Bobby Lee and tell me how many times you are entertained by Khalyla's presence, her input, or whatever. Compared to Bobby Lee's performance on that podcast, it was out of this world. I mean, it's normal. He carries every show, every podcast that he goes on to, but there is a day and night difference. There's a clear difference between both of them when one of them is clearly carrying the show. So they briefly talk about the breakup, and it gets a little bit of uncomfortable, and you can tell because there are some edits, some cuts in places where usually you wouldn't see those cuts in a podcast. Now, the most interesting thing there was, in my opinion, that Bobby Lee essentially, in a way, unconsciously or consciously exposed Khalyla, because we all know that the reason why this breakup happened was because essentially Bobby Lee wasn't paying attention to her, wasn't intimate with her, and all those other details in the situation. Well, Bobby Lee tries to justify himself being 50 and not being like this 20-year-old hungry dude that is after a girl all the time. He asks Tom, do you guys cuddle? When was the last time you and Christina P cuddled? And you could tell what was going on there, because they don't.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys still cuddle and all that stuff? I mean, when's the last time you had a cuddle session?
So you ever see this?
No. I want to know for myself.
I want to know what's going on here.
Obviously avoided the question. They moved on completely because we all know the answer. They don't. They clearly don't. Who does? They're 50 years old. They have a family to raise. They have a business to run. That's the answer. Which brings me to my point, I guess, of either Khalyla is manipulating Bobby Lee, or Bobby Lee is just way too nice that he's actually going around on a press tour telling everybody that it was his fault that they are both broken up. It feels like he's doing this in an attempt to try and save her reputation and avoid Trash Tuesday, the podcast, her project, from taking a financial hit. Because it really doesn't make sense. The truth is, sure, they broke up, and the reason could have been explained as, hey, we just now have different lifestyles. Bobby Lee is sedentary. He wants to play video games. He's not sex driven. He's just an old 50-year-old dude. Normal. Now Khalyla is younger. She has money. She wants to travel. They now have different lifestyles that they didn't maybe expect that would happen in the future. Whatever. But in my opinion, that's the real reason. It's like, hey, we just realized we have completely different lifestyles. We're not compatible anymore. But the fact that Bobby Lee is going everywhere telling everybody that it's his fault, and you can tell he gets uncomfortable, because there are times where jokingly Christina says that he is submissive, or that he is or when Khalyla says that he's a gentle lover, or something along those lines, and you can tell that triggers him, because then he thinks everybody will think he's soft, which is honestly really a thing that is happening. A lot of his comments are people saying that they lost respect of Bobby Lee for putting himself in this situation, and for pretty much taking all that Khalyla has put him through. I recommend you go and watch it. I think it's very interesting, and most important, it was funny. Bobby Lee crushed. So if you're a fan of Bobby Lee, Go watch that episode. It will not disappoint. So next point, I just started watching the last episode with JRE, Joe Rogan, and Sam Tripoli. I think it's very interesting that he's on now. It's about a 4-hour podcast. It's a long one. And I'll let you know what I think once I get through it. The interesting thing that I was thinking about is, if you guys know Mike David from Red About Radio, let's just say he doesn't like Sam Tripoli that much, and vice versa. They don't like each other that much. So I don't think he's going to bring him up in the Joe Rogan Experience, obviously. But on the other hand, I am 100% sure that he's going to talk about it on his show, because I'm sure he's pissed and jealous. The person that he hates the most just appeared on the biggest platform in the world. I would be salty too. So we'll see what happens. I don't think anything will come out of that, but definitely Mike will be talking about it, and I will be talking about Mike talking about it, and then it'll be a never-ending cycle. But again, let me know what you guys think. If you made it this far, why not just hit the subscribe button? I'll be doing these type of videos weekly, maybe twice a week, and then the short documentary styles, at least twice a month. I'll figure something out, but that's all we got for today. See ya.